ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Droids, and infamous Wookiees out there across our beloved empire, to today's video, where we have our initial gameplay review of the one and only TheBlack Krrsantan. This is a character that I think people were anticipating with the release of Book of Boba Fett. A lot of people were excited to see TheBlack Krrsantan. However, I will say there will be some disappointment, at least for a little bit, until Jabba the Hutt comes around. We were hoping there would be some good non-Jabba the Hutt uses. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. And if you're someone disappointed, I'm going to give you some comfort that he will be probably a very important character once Galactic Legend Jabba the Hutt shows up, which he's required at Relic 5 for to get him. So likely this isn't a character I would recommend spending money to get right away. Unlike a lot of other characters, you're probably not going to get a lot of use right now. That could change, of course, with the addition of Jabba in a few months, or perhaps some new additions and changes in Omicrons to the Hutt Cartel faction. Let's talk about what we know about Krrsantan now, and I think it's going to make more sense why he's going to have a bigger role in the future. It's got a great baseline for some really solid stats for the near future to be utilized. Krrsantan is the dark side tank with the bounty hunter, Hutt Cartel, and the Scandroid tag, so a lot of lucrative tags. However, it's going to be limited quite a lot throughout the kit because it's calling out Hutt Cartel members. The Hutt Cartel is not great right now, but give it time. Just like Mandalorians, they weren't great at one point and now they're a top tier team. But despite looking at the kit, he's got some very solid stats that he's rocking with. He's got some decent speed, top tier health, and top tier protection. And the coolest part about it all is it's only going to get better. Just looking at his kit, despite the callouts to Hutt Cartel members, he's jacking up his defense and max health through his unique ability, Champion of the Fighting Pits. And if you go as far as putting the Omicron on, he's going to get an additional 40% max protection, which fortunately doesn't require him to be in a Hutt Cartel. Another fun thing to note, if you consider the fact when there's a Hutt Cartel in the leadership slot, he'll give himself 50% protection up, which is based off his max health. And as we're seeing, he's got a pretty good max health to work with. So this is going to be a very good protection up buff. We're definitely speculating a little bit, but almost every Galactic Legend lead has some sort of mastery increase, which is based off the Relic Amplifier. So he's probably going to get even more max health and protection because his Relic Amplifier is based off, well, health and protection. And when you consider Relic 9 and its interaction of tanks, this guy's probably going to be a very disgusting Relic 9 character down the road when Jabba the Hutt shows up. So point being is he's going to be a very durable tank, and that's going to tie in with his kit, which we can't fully appreciate right now because of the lack of the Hutt Cartel and Jabba the Hutt. He's got an amazing revive mechanism, and in my perspective, I think this is going to be very helpful for Jabba the Hutt to stay competitive with Jedi Master Kenobi because Krrsantan is going to pre-taunt with Jabba the Hutt. Commander Ahsoka Tano is going to try to destroy him right from the get-go with the insta-kill. But when Jabba the Hutt, a Hutt Cartel leader, is going to take a turn through Champion of the Fighting Pits, even without the Omicron, he is going to constantly revive with 60% health and 60% protection at the end of the ally the leader slot's turn. And with that said, he can reduce the cooldowns of Dismember, one of his special abilities. And when you consider the fact that through Champion of the Fighting Pits, he's recovering 10% health and protection every time he's losing taunt, and he's going to do that quite a lot because through his unique ability, if all allies were Hutt Cartel, which is one of the problems of his kit right now, we don't have a great Hutt Cartel team, he's going to get pre-taunt right away and speed up at the very beginning. So very reminiscent of Lord Vader giving speed up the dark side unaligned force users. And with that decent speed he's working with, he could pull up really early play. Whenever he's going to lose taunt, he's going to gain it for one turn, whether or not it was dispelled by the enemy. By it running out of time and expiring, it's going to renew itself yet again, and he's going to recover health and protection. This will work so long as the leader slot has more than 50% protection. And with the Galactic Legend Jabba the Hutt in mind, that's probably going to be very substantial. And this is really important. This requires the Omicron and a full Hutt Cartel team, but imagine with Jabba the Hutt, anytime the leader is going below 50% health, he's going to taunt, if he didn't already have it, for 2 turns, and the ally in the leader slot recovers 50% protection, which makes him a really annoying Royal Guard type of character. So the point I'm getting at here is, as of now, because of the lack of a good Hutt Cartel team, and because Jabba the Hutt's not in the game, unfortunately, he's not a great character to be used at the bounty hunters because his kit is way too limited. So hopefully I was able to give you a little bit of hope that he is going to be a much more important character. But if I did not know Jabba the Hutt was coming, I would say this is probably one of the most disappointing characters we've had in the game so far this year. That's saying a lot after the follow-up of the Inquisitors. Every single one of his abilities gives you a little bit of something, but then the 90% of the rest of the core kit is tied to Hutt Cartel. And as of now, you can't do a whole lot. His basic has shock, which is really cool, but you can't get shock. But you can't get shock to apply frequently enough unless he's taunting, and all allies were Hutt Cartel, which is a very strenuous tag right now. So the shock on the basics is going to be really good of Jabba the Hutt, but not so much right now. His first special, Ferocious Fusillade. He needs to have a Hutt Cartel ally in the leadership slot to get protection up for him and to get more health and protection recovery. So again, kind of limiting the kit. Dismember, a new kind of fun little interaction. Before you have a full team of Hutt Cartel allies, it just applies Disarm, and that's it. If you have a full team of Hutt Cartel members, you can increase the target enemy's cooldown by 1, which is really nice. He can inflict ability block, and then he's going to gain 50% max health as well, on top of those already really solid stats we talked about. And then Disarm is lasting for a lot longer. In Disarm, I'm not crazy about it, but it's supposed to be kind of like a Moff Gideon Demoralize, where it reduces critical damage by 50% and offense as well. And then anytime a character uses a basic ability, they gain damage over time for 2 turns, which can't be resisted, which is, I guess, it's supposed to signify that they're bleeding because their arm just got ripped off by an infamous Wookie. And you kind of see how that could be fun with Geonosians, for example. And then there's the leadership ability. Every bounty hunter, it's kind of iconic for the faction. Every bounty hunter has a leadership ability, but not all of them are great. And I'm not particularly fond of Formidable Ferocity. It's got some all right stuff. It's got at least a catch-all Scoundrel lead with 30% max health, steal max health, and max protection, so that's kind of nice. He's got a way to kind of help Hutt Cartel allies rack up their offense, but the Hutt Cartel's kind of trash right now. And on top of that, the contract is pretty hard to satisfy, where you need to take out the enemy leader, and the problem is you need to do it with a Scoundrel, so if a thermal detonator or damage over time kills the leader, you lost your opportunity to get the contract to go off. And the other thing that's kind of unfortunate, you also don't get to repetitively trigger the contract. So we tried a Night Scissor Zombie, thinking if we keep killing off the Night Scissor Zombie in the lead, we would keep triggering the contract, and it doesn't work like that. And then the payout's just okay. A little bit extra health, a little bit more max health. You're probably not going to be using Krrsantan, the leading bounty hunters, and even more specifically, Hutt Cartel members, anytime soon. And then we didn't talk about this, the payout as well. He at least recovers 40% health and protection, gets critical avoidance, and can taunt when you get the payout to be triggered. So that's kind of nice. It's a way to get a taunt up after a payout. But the problem is, they get the full benefit of the kit and the payout. You need the leader slot to be Galactic Legend and Hutt Cartel, so you can't even get the full benefit of this until you get Jabba the Hutt. And then Krrsantan's gonna gain damage immunity if there's Jabba the Hutt for 2 turns and 30% tenacity until the end of the battle. So what this is telling me right here, right now, is that Jabba the Hutt is going to have a bounty hunter type of lead with the contract, and once you get Jabba's contract to go off, then you're gonna get that damage immunity on this one Wookiee here. Not a very impressive character, and I think a lot of people were disappointed because this is a character I think a lot of people were anticipating with the Book of Boba Fett, and when we came to look at him, it's like, oh yeah, half his kit can't be operated because it's either tied to Grand Arena, Hutt Cartel, or more importantly, Jabba the Hutt. So that's why I'm saying right now, if you do spend money, this isn't really a character to spend money because I don't see a lot of use happening until something happens with the Hutt Cartel, or inevitably Jabba the Hutt happens within the next 2 to 3 months, I would suspect. And I think what another big disappointment I had with this character is because of their lack of deep synergy with bounty hunters at large, you can't really use this guy with Boba Fett's Sign of Django. And I don't know about you, I know he's had a lot of comic book appearances, but I think the first appearance that most people are familiar with Krrsantan is from Book of Boba Fett. And although we do see him with the Hutts, we inevitably see him join sides of Boba Fett's Sign of Django. And there's not a lot of synergy going on there. Yeah, you can make things happen because he is a bounty hunter, but not a lot of powerful synergy. And I was hoping for more love for Boba Fett's Sign of Django because he is probably the most lackluster conquest unit we've had to date. Not a lot to do with him, and I wish we could have had Krrsantan to do more. Now, one could make the argument, CG has also said that Boba Fett's Sign of Django isn't based off Book of Boba Fett. It's based off of his Mandalorian Season 2 appearance. So maybe it makes sense why this Boba Fett doesn't have Krrsantan synergy, because he didn't work with Krrsantan at the time of Mandalorian Season 2. So leaving the door open for another Boba Fett sometime down the road. Daimyo of Tatooine, whatever it might be. One last thing I do want to note, this is definitely one of the gear-heavy characters we've had in a while. This is one of the most expensive characters I had to gear up to get testing here. And this really goes against CG and what they told us, how Karateks were meant to ease the gear crunch for lower gear levels. That is beyond the truth. As we see, this guy needs 450 Carbantes, 250 Mark 7 Kyrotechs, 200 Mark 5 stun guns, 150 Mark 9 Kyrotechs. The list goes on and on and on. They are draining gear dry, and we have Darth Malgus around the corner who has very similar gear requirements. So this is a very expensive character for not a lot of bang for buck right now. All right, a few more things. Let's talk about mods and Zetas before we give kind of like an initial impressions rating on this character. There's a one Zeta on this character which is tied to Champion of the Fighting Pit. As of now, I would not recommend this Zeta mainly because it only works with the Hutt cartel, and there's not a great Hutt cartel team. But with the Zeta, you're able to reset the cooldown of this member, taking it off its normal cooldown of 8, which is one of the reasons why he has a hard time using it in non-Hutt cartel teams. Right now, it's a no, but yes, down the road, the moral of the story is it's going to be much more important as he will be a staple tank for Jabba the Hutt and hopefully a better Hutt cartel team. The same opinion also applies to the Grand Arena Omicron. Again, I suspect this will be important for Jabba the Hutt, but as of now, you're not going to get a lot of bang for buck because the Hutt cartel is not a great team right now, so no for now. But if you're watching a couple months down the road of Jabba the Hutt, double check my new opinion because it's probably going to be a yes. Right now, these aren't like the best mods I have because I don't have big plans for them, but health mods are definitely going to be the way to go with health primaries and protection primaries because of the various ways he's going to amplify his protection and health stats. And of course, they're going to recover health and protection throughout their kit. So overall, as it stands, this is probably a 2-star character from what I'm saying. But again, I want to caveat this. This is not a character great right now, but I think, again, with Jabba the Hutt, which we know is coming, this is going to be a staple character and probably will easily shoot up to 4 or 5 stars when in the right lineup. But as of now, I find myself really hard to go beyond a 2-star, and we don't have an ideal team to really make him even a higher star count right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Droids, that's going to wrap it up for today's Krrsantan initial gameplay review. Definitely a disappointment as it stands. Luckily, they told us in advance Jabba the Hutt's coming, so not as upset. No bad jokes made about this character, but it does suck. He does not have a lot of love and affinity for a lot of other bounty hunters, and it needs to be Hutt cartel, and right now they're not quite the hot topic, but let's give it some time. Leave a like, comment down below. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing, because around these parts, we always love to say how it's great to be in the Empire today.